Wine and Crime Wednesday. It feels like it has been an eternity since I was with all of you. And I also want to make sure right out of the gate, I apologize for the technical difficulties that I experienced while I was in Las Vegas. There was a little miscommunication among the Demeanor household and the extended Demeanor family as to who was going to be bringing the laptop. So there I was in Vegas with my camera and my microphone and my earbuds and everything, and I had no computer to do it on. And I probably could have tried to hook something up with my phone, but my phone's little. I was like, this is not going to work. So we're just going to have to cancel that. I'm terribly sorry to all of you, but we're here now. Oh boy, I have so much to share. I have so many photographs, and I have so many stories and information, and I am completely and totally geeked from this trip. And I'm so happy I got to spend time with my husband's family. Both his brother and his sister came into Las Vegas, and we had a phenomenal time together and finished the weekend off with my sister-in-law's birthday party, because yesterday was her 70th birthday, and she was my CrimeCon crony. Oh, that's not easy to say. At the last CrimeCon. And she has now been officially dubbed my photographer, because she was the one that took all of the photographs for me. So I very much appreciate her being there. We had a fantastic time. It was amazing. And I just want to say, I know a lot of people have a lot to say about CrimeCon. It's expensive. It's a ripoff. It's this, it's that. And I know I told all of you before I ever left, CrimeCon is much like high school and an education. It's what you make of it. And I made it a blast. So there's a lot to cover. I have 2 bottles of water in here with me tonight, because I know I have a lot of talking that I have to do with all of you to give you all of the tea that I heard and was spilled. And before I get too far in, I know if you followed anything on social media, you may have heard there were some shenanigans that went down again at CrimeCon. I was not there for any of them, but what I will tell you is I had every intention on Saturday. I was messaging back and forth with Dolly from Dolly Talk. And all of a sudden, I said, I'm going to have a break at this time. I'm planning on being in the exhibition hall. You know, let's plan on meeting up at some point. He's answering me back and everything. We had been talking really since Thursday night, he and I had. And then I hear nothing, and I'm like kind of looking around the exhibition hall for him, and I didn't see him. And all of a sudden, several hours later, he messaged me and he said, I completely apologize. I'm sorry. I had an incident with JLR Investigates, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to meet you. And I felt awful for him. He is such a lovely man. He is kind-hearted, and it just breaks my heart that anyone would do anything harmful to him. So that's what I have to say about that. I think there was more Lauren Matthias and Christine stuff. I don't know. Y'all know me. I try to stay out of the drama. I'm like, whoa, we're getting a little too close to the drama. So Let me see who is here. I know you all been chomping at the bit. Kelly starts us off. Welcome in, everyone. We missed you, Ms. D, and missed all of you chickadees, chatters, lurkers, twixers. Hit the like button, subscribe, become a member, make good choices, or just hang out with us. KS Granny, you're excited to hear about CrimeCon and the Binion House? Oh, I'm glad you've got your iced tea. And thank you for the welcome back. We, for the most part, had very easy traveling. When we were returning home, oh my goodness, we were doing the looping in the air until, we landed way late on our arrival home. But, if it's going to happen, I'd rather it happens on the way home. Shut the front door. KS Granny has been a member for 5 whole months. Wow. How do you like them apples? At 6 months, KS Granny, you get to bump up to the next level. Christine is with us again. Hello, my dear. Ava Danielle, she's back with us again. Granny Debbie, so happy to see all of you, all my regulars. Disney Nerd. Oh, you all should be so excited to hear about all of the people that I bumped into. Who else we have here? Who did I not say hello to? Oh, Felicia is back with us. Livy, so happy that you're here again. And Peppermint PJ. And yes, Livy, he does seem to always be in the middle of something. Who did I miss? Holly? I don't see Holly on here. Why do I? Oh, there she is. Hello, Holly. I missed all of you. It's been like an eternity since we've been together. So, and Melissa, how you doing? Okay. I have said my hellos to everybody. If you're out in the Twix land, you can still drop me a comment. I believe they show up, both of them show up in my chat here. Maybe not on the tubes of you, but alrighty. One of the first things that I wanted to tell all of you is, in case you didn't know, let me be the one to tell you. Oh, you can't see it very well. Let me back it up a little. Oh, maybe forward. Well, it's my little pin that says CrimeCon Orlando, baby. Orlando is where we are going next year for CrimeCon. There it is. There it is. It is September 24th through the 26th of 2027 in Orlando. And I tried really hard to win this amazing Platinum VIP tickets, because when you register for next year's CrimeCon, or actually for any of the events when you're on site there, when you register for them, they give you a token kind of thing that you then put down, and they spin a wheel for you to try to win a prize. And I was trying to win a Platinum VIP prize. I did not. I lost. But that's okay, because I figure I wasn't out anything. They give you the poker chip token thing or whatever. So, I did want to tell you that. Yes, the next thing on my list, I have several lists of things. I almost forgot. And when you go, you get really cool things like this. This is from Law and Crime, and it has a little police officer on the top. And that's how you open your pen. It's so cute. This little smiley face, and it says Law and Crime on it. Anyway, had to show that little piece to you. There are, I would say, last year's CrimeCon, a lot more really good swag. This year, it was a little hit or miss. And I have to believe part of it is because it was pretty close together. We were just we just had CrimeCon in September, and here it is the end of May, and we're back at it. And now we go all the way until September next year until we do another CrimeCon. I know a lot of you have been asking, and you're anxious to find out whether I went to Ted Binion's house. Do y'all think I'm an amateur? Of course I went to Ted Binion's house. Now, I didn't go in, of course. There are people living there. It's not the Binion family. I didn't want to, be that much of a creep. But I did have to do it a little covertly because I had some concern about trespassing. So I agree, Kelly. Pics or it didn't happen. Oh, I got pics. And oh, hello, Terry Doria. Oh, and Jillian is with us too. Oh, do I have an issue with my mic settings? Let's try. Let me know. I unplugged stuff. I wonder if I bumped something. Oh my gosh, bifocal time. Let me know if that is making anything better at all, because I had to take a bunch of my stuff down. Okay. So yeah, let me know if you're still having some sound issues. It's echoing. Oh, well, that probably means this needs to go back. Better? Let me, the last thing I need to do is open another window, but I don't really know. Let me try in my, computer mic and stuff. Let's see what my audio settings are. Is that better? Any better there? I didn't change my microphone setting. Oh, it's fine on Terry's end. Am I still muted? I'm showing that there's stuff happening. Is it okay now? I'm back on, not muted. Back to the airplane hangar. Let's try this. Is this helping at all? Is that better for all of you? Plus I have the delay, so. I'm like a tin can, huh? Great. This is what happens when you disconnect things, you see. I really don't know anything else. Can you hear me, or is it such poor quality that you can't even really hear me at all? Let's try that. Does that make any difference for any of you? Am I still talking out of a faucet? I changed a setting, but my IT guy isn't here, so is it still echoing? Okay. I will make some adjustments over the weekend. I'll have to get my IT man here. Okay. Okay. Awesome. If you have an echo, I don't know what to tell. But we're going to continue. So yes, I did make it to Binion's house. So I'm going to kind of walk you through my entire weekend, the entire time there. So I arrived on Thursday night. Nothing really happened other than we went in, registered, got our badges, and then went back to, we were staying at a condo. Because we were staying at a timeshare that Mr. Demeanor and I have. And so we weren't right there at Caesar's Palace. Let me tell you about Caesar's Palace. What a freaking debacle. That place is a nightmare. And navigating that place sucked. There were not clear signs anywhere. It was awful. Navigating was awful. Absolutely horrible. Denver, 2 snaps up. Las Vegas, Caesar's Palace, boo. It was really bad. So we then went back to the condo Thursday night. I had a horrible night of sleep. It was just probably one of the worst nights of sleep I've ever had. Up too late, and then, of course, just didn't sleep well. Got up Friday morning. We all went out to breakfast. Oh my gosh, my breakfast was phenomenal. It was such a good breakfast. I'm trying to remember what kind of French toast I had. It was like vanilla caramel French toast or something like that. It was unbelievable. And then we headed out to old Teddy Boy's house, got some pictures, and I don't actually know why I have my earbuds in at all this evening because I don't really have any video to share with all of you. So let me put those there. So then we went, after leaving Teddy's house, we went to the venue, of course, and we started. The first session that I sat in on was the Tepe murder investigation and what has been happening with that. And if you don't remember, the Tepe murders was the dentist and his wife, the ex-husband who'd been out of the picture for many, many years, broke into their home and shot them both while they were in bed. And so that's what this particular case is. So y'all, I have my notebook. Yeah, so I got a lot. I didn't realize that the Tepes were married. Their wedding was actually in that home. And I didn't realize that. Yeah, lock the kids out of the primary bedroom. Yes, the kids were actually in the home. I'm not sure what trial y'all are talking about. So anyway, I also didn't know that they were this was on December 6th. And this was like a week before the murders took place. Monique, was at a Big Ten, well, both of them, she and her husband were at a Big Ten football game, and she left in the middle of the game. And it was in reference to something that was happening with her ex-husband, Michael McKee. And come to find out, information down the road, they realized he was at their home. He's on video at their home on that day when they were gone out of town at a Big Ten football game. Which obviously, if you're going to go to any football game, it should be a Big Ten game. Just saying. Anyway, so the day of the incident, the police officer that was originally dispatched went to the wrong home. That was at 9:15 a.m. And by 10:01 a.m., that's when the bodies were found. So they could have been found earlier, but the police officer went to the wrong place. They believe they were both killed around 3:50 a.m. I'm not entirely sure why they believe that is the time, except the surveillance video in the neighborhood. And it just so happens that particular neighborhood, there are tons of different types of Ring cameras, Nest, I mean, you name it, they have it there. So they were divorced for 10 years. That's a long time to still be carrying a torch. Dude, you got issues. And he's a doctor. He's an esteemed doctor. What in the world? It is a little bit of a sketchy neighborhood. I can't remember. It was someone on the panel that was saying that it was. It's not the most upscale neighborhood. And that he had Arizona and Ohio plates. They were both stolen plates. Swapping them out in his vehicle. Like, weird. Absolutely weird. He drove 438 miles to commit this crime. And yeah, the plates have been switched back and forth. His cell phone has no data whatsoever for 17 hours. Y'all know. That's what we say is the clue. Let's see, defense. Oh, the defense is going to say that it was a sloppy investigation. I think that's going to be a hard one to sell. And they also believe that on that December 6th date, when they were away at the Big Ten football game, that he intended on taking their lives that day. And they happened to be out of town. And I did not know there is a malpractice lawsuit that has been filed against Michael McKee. They had a very, very difficult time serving him. He kept showing up in odd other cities, Chicago, and y'all will like this because it's going to give you shades of Dr. Shaknovsky. He left a catheter in the patient. That's why he's being sued for malpractice, because he left a catheter. Maybe spend a little more time, Dr. McKee, on yourself and your job and a little less about Monique. I mean, not that it's a problem now because you're going to have nothing but time on your hands. The investigator said it has been very difficult for them to get anyone to talk about Michael McKee in particular. And they believe pretty firmly and clearly that Monique did see him on I think theirs was a Ring camera on December 6th, and that's what had her kind of freaked out. And there was this weird thing, and I didn't hear this at all. So y'all can tell me, maybe I haven't followed this one close enough, which is every bit a possibility. They claim that they believe one of the triggers could have been some documentation or some information that they were trying to serve him with, or there was something that was showing up on a docket that was in reference to their divorce, and that in some way triggered him into this. I mean, you have to call it a psychotic episode. I mean, what else do you call Dude's, he's crazy. 438 miles? That's a heck of a cool down time period. And you still didn't cool down? I mean, although it has been 10 years also since they were married. So there's that too. So those were my notes from the hour-long session on the Tepe murders in Ohio. And then the next segment, yes, oh Felicia, that's what they're saying. They think it's a clerical error that happened. I'm trying to keep myself on track because y'all, I got a lot of notes. I got notes here, notes there. It's a lot. It's a lot to present this to you. I'm just saying. Let's see. The next segment. Oh, yes. The next segment that I sat in on was Blanca Simpson. Oh boy, everybody. If there was tea to be spilled, old Blanca was spilling it. I was fascinated. I took a page and a half of notes from Blanca. Yeah, I was completely riveted with her segment. If you don't know who Blanca Simpson is, she was the housekeeper for Maggie and Alec Murdaugh. She is also the individual who got Bubba. So there's that. Disney Nerd, were you there? Were you there and you never bumped into me? Out of the thousands of people there and you never bumped into me? So let me give you some tidbits. She is the one she's primarily the one. Oh, you watched it on Fox Nation. Oh, I was going to say, I'm going to be upset if somebody was there and you didn't try to see me or anything. She's the one that primarily has been maintaining the graves. And when she heard about the appeal, that Alec won the appeal because of stupid Courthouse Becky, she actually immediately drove to their graves and spent some time there. I did not know that she is former U.S. Navy. So she's kind of a bad booty. You know what I'm saying? I was like, you go, Blanca. Her friendship with Maggie began long before the boat crash. And I didn't know that she had had a stroke and she was not in contact with the Murdaughs for like 4 years because she was recovering from the stroke. Because, he had started using Blanca to translate for him with his Spanish-speaking clients. The ones he was stealing from. Yeah, those. And I don't even have to say allegedly because he pled guilty to it. He actually stole. She said in watching Alec and Maggie, she was seeing them start to get into this like empty nesters phase of their lives. And she thought it was very cute and that she did not detect any sort of anything being off in their relationship, in their marriage. And so the last movie that the two of them saw was 1917. And that was, when I say the two of them, I mean Maggie and Alec. They went and saw that. Oh, hey, Judes. How are ya? And the last movie that Blanca saw with Maggie was Little Women. And the last concert that Maggie went to was Hootie and the Blowfish. I mean, it's a good choice as far as I'm concerned. Um, she said that Maggie and Alec were talking all the time because they were in there's been this misconception that he was at Moselle, she was in Edisto, that there were problems in their marriage, and that's why. And she said that that is not the case at all. They talked many times every day, and the reason that Maggie was in Edisto is because they were remodeling it, and she was kind of heading up that charge. Um, she did notice there toward the end that Alec was sleeping in and missing appointments, and it was very unusual for him to kind of be faltering. Um, and so she said she did notice that. And then when asked if she knew about any of the pills, she said she saw pills, but never to the quantity that they are purporting. Never. She said, not like they've talked about. Um, Alec, y'all are gonna die when you hear this. Alec was a big true crime show watcher. He liked Law and Order. Tell me there isn't irony in that. Tell me there isn't. Yeah. So on the day of the murders, when she arrived that morning at Moselle, Alec was still in bed, which to me is really, really telling, because I think that probably um, calls to mind the consumption of controlled substances. I could be wrong, but she also said that from there's like a bunk room upstairs, and from that room you can see all the way down to the kennels. And that was just something she would regularly do when she was in that room. She would look down there and look at the kennels. On this particular day, she put clothes away in the bunk room, and she had walked through the hunting room. I'm assuming that's that extra room where all the guns were. They've called it the gun room too. Anyway, and she saw a white F-150 truck over in the kennel area. She does not know whose truck it was. It could have been Paul's. It could have been Randolph's. Kind of doubt, since Randolph was in such declining health. Or it could have been John Marvin. I think in her mind, she assumed that it was probably Paul, because then shortly after seeing this F-150, she saw the orange tractor going toward the sunflower field, which is where they were trying to fix it because they were going to have some sort of dove hunt or something like that. I gotta wet my whistle here, folks, so bear with me just a moment. All right. The last text she ever got from Maggie said, "No worries," which is so incredibly sad. You could really feel from her how hurt she is over her friend not being here anymore. She also said, this was something new for me anyway, that Maggie's car was not parked right in its normal spot in front of the house at Moselle. That was one of the things she noticed the day after the murders, is when she pulled up there, she thought it was odd because there's a certain way that, Paul would always, if Paul, I think as she said was, if Paul could drive his truck all the way up onto the porch and get out of it to go in the house, that's what he would have done. So he always was right directly in front of, and then Buster would park next to there, and then Alec was, I think, on the other side, and then Maggie had a specific spot that she always parked her car. we're human beings. We are creatures of habit. I believe this wholeheartedly. And we're getting closer and closer to some of the testimony and some of the information that I've been saying all along. Given this time frame, given the ability for individuals to look at body cam footage and evidence again, I don't necessarily know this is going to be the biggest, most whiz bang win to retry Alec. I think this could go really, really badly for him in an evidentiary way. So then she talked about the pajamas. I'm sure you have all heard about Maggie's pajamas being laid out. Here is what I didn't understand or know until she explained it last week. I thought Maggie's pajamas were laid out in the primary bedroom or master bedroom. And then I heard no, they were in a bathroom on the floor. And now, as I'm sitting there listening to her last week, she actually says they were laid out like perfectly flat on the floor at the entrance to the laundry room. And the way they were laid out, it was pants, PJ top above it, and clean panties sitting over the top of the pajama bottoms. Like literally placed there. What in the world is that? And she said she knew right away that was an issue, that was out of place, because Maggie never, ever wore panties to bed. She just never did. She was not questioned for a very long time. And that's why I think that's going to be a much bigger deal in a retrial. In Alec Murdaugh season 2, I think there will be a lot more questioning that goes on. And then when they did send someone to interview Blanca, they sent some rookie investigator. Well, I don't know if you all know, but that's what Blanca used to do in the Navy. She was an interrogator, so she knows all of the tactics. And they send this little rookie guy to talk to her. And she was calling and calling and calling about what's going on with the case. What are you doing? And to the point that the investigators and the police called her obsessed and that she needed to get help. She's the kind of friend I want to have. I want a friend that's going to be like, oh, heck no, we're going to keep calling. We're going to wear you out. Then she gets into what I feel is some of the most compelling information out of everything. No, Kelly, I don't believe it was SLED that interviewed her. I believe it was probably someone from the sheriff's office. I'm not positive, but it wouldn't surprise me. One of the things that she noticed, and this had never even crossed my mind, and I know it didn't cross the prosecution's mind, but I bet you they'll use it in their next trial. The dogs barking. So the dogs were not barking at all on Paul's video when they're trying to get the chicken from Bubba. No barking dogs. But when Alec called 911, the dogs are going nuts on that 911 call. I never even thought about this. She thinks that the reason the dogs were going crazy is because there was someone there helping Alec clean up. And I got to tell you, it makes a lot of sense. She said those dogs would not bark if it were just Alec down there. There's absolutely no way. No way. But if a stranger were down there, someone they weren't very familiar with, they would be going nuts like they were. And I went, oh my. Oh, didn't think about that. They were going nuts. And then she made a comment about part of the other reason she thinks someone else was there is because you hear on the 911 call, Alex says here to someone else. She said when she heard that, she immediately thought, who was with him? Who was with him there? And then she says that she had been watching a clip of body cam. And in this clip, it kind of scans the driver's compartment area of Alex's truck. And I don't know who she was with, but she said, pause that for me. And on the front seat, driver's seat, is a blue beach towel. And in the beverage holder in that same truck is a Capri Sun. And she said she knew that all of the beach towels were clean. So he had to have gone in that laundry room because that's where the beach towels were. He had to have gone in that laundry room and gotten that beach towel. And there weren't any Capri Suns until she came there and stocked everything. He would have had to have walked over the pajamas in the laundry room to get to the beach towels. And her exact words were, when I saw that beach towel, I knew he did it. Yeah. My jaw just about hit the floor when I heard her say, when I saw that beach towel, I knew he did it. So, yeah, you think that Blanca is some fragile little flower. No, put her butt up on the stand. She's got lots to tell everybody. Lots. Oh, I am so excited for season 2. This is the stuff I thought was going to happen. There was still a lot of shock. That happened so quickly. The spiraling and everything. I am absolutely not surprised. I'm not surprised that this is what some of the testimony, and people are re-watching body cam and they're noticing things because they're not, their brain is in less of a state of shock. And that's what was happening to her. She said she didn't even really have an opportunity to grieve, had to go to therapy, and then she finally was able to work through the process of mourning and grieving her friend, the loss of her friend, and Paul. And she said there's been a lot of really bad press about Paul, but he was a good, kind-hearted person. He would have given you the shirt off his back. And I do believe that. I believe Paul was very complex, as most people are. And I think that there was a party side and an irresponsibility side of Paul Murdaugh, but I also believe at the core of him, he was just a good and decent human being. And unfortunately, in a family that craziness. So that was kind of the end of the Blanca Simpson segment, which was beyond my expectations. And then I went to the Nancy Guthrie section. Yeah. Let me show you my notes from the Nancy Guthrie session. Yeah. What a waste of my time. I didn't even know that we stayed till the end. There was nothing new, blah, 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 blah. That's all it was. And I had heard and seen stuff just days before I left to go to CrimeCon that supposedly pajamas were found out in the desert that they think belong to, sorry, I keep beating this thing and everything. I'm a hot mess. It's like a Monday for me. And there was nothing discussed in that session about it at all. None whatsoever. So as far as I was concerned, big, huge, fat bust. But let me see if I can show you. Oh, what an awful picture of me. But I'm going to share my screen so that you can see, because I left a little early from the Nancy Guthrie session, I went to the exhibitors hall. And you may or may not know who this is, but I'm going to make it larger for you all. Let's see, there's me with my eyes closed, but I have another picture that's better. I just picked the wrong one. So you may not know who this is, but this lovely woman that I am standing with is Kathy Roussan. She is part of Law and Crime, and I have followed her on the Twix for many, many, many years. And I, on occasion, will comment asking about whether something is going to be covered on Law and Crime, whether they'll have cameras in the courtroom. And prior to going to CrimeCon, I saw that she was already there with Gigi. And I said, oh my gosh, I want to make sure that I, meet up, that we end up seeing each other. And it just so happened I was walking down this middle aisle and she came around and I went, Kathy! And she's like, oh my gosh! And gave me a great big hug, and we talked just briefly. She was in the middle of 15 things and did a quick picture. So that was one of the first people that I bumped into and chitty-chatted with for just a few moments. And then I got to chat with the Vinster. You know the one. That's right. Vinnie Politan himself. So this is me talking to him about the fact that Bob Mata had to leave a live stream of mine because he had to go on the show on Court TV with Vinnie Politan. And I said, Vinnie, when are you going to have me on? Why are you taking Bob Mata? When are you going to have me? And he giggled about it. And then I told him that the reason I am even on the Twix is because of him and Casey Anthony. Casey Anthony is the reason that I ever even got on Twitter at that time, is what it was called, because I had to know what was happening in the Casey Anthony case. And the only one really giving any sort of updates from the courtroom was Vinnie Politan. And so I made sure to subscribe to him right away so that I would get all of the updates. And yeah, his shoes were a little bright. Yeah, I agree. And so as I'm talking to him, and I told him this story about he's the reason I'm on, he's like, well, what's your name? And I gave him my name, and he then said, hang on a second, this is not the right picture, I don't think. It isn't the right picture. Bear with me just a moment. I thought I had this all in order, y'all. I spent some time, man. Yeah, that is not the right picture. Um, well, all I will tell, let me see if I can get it to come up a different way. Oh, yeah. I don't know that this is going to show up, but we're going to try it. Let me see if I can share this different picture. Bear with me. So as I'm talking to the Vinster, what do you see happens? Yeah, right there, everybody. Right there, it says Vinnie Politan followed you. I'm just saying. Me and Vinny, like that. So yeah, he um he ended up following me on the Twix right there in person. And so that was it was a fun time. It was really um pretty cool, if I do say so myself. Let me get rid of some of these pictures as I'm going through. So then after speaking with him, um because we're BFFs now because we've chatted. I went over and I did speak with Gigi and if you don't know who I'm talking about when I say Gigi, I'm referring to Pretty Lies and Alibis. She's wonderful and has great content, and I'm a big fan, a big supporter of her. And so I went over to talk to her because I had spoke with her at last year's CrimeCon because it was right after Adelson, and I said, "Hey, I was in the courtroom if you want to talk." And then, stuff happened, and I never really touched base with her. So I spoke with her again at this CrimeCon, and she said, "Absolutely, positively, we need to do a collab." And so there will be at some point in the future when I can reach out to her and we can decide exactly what we're going to do. My intention is for the two of us to have a collaboration on a topic or two or three. So yeah, Gigi's awesome. Yeah, she's very, very good. So I'd love to chat with her about, pretty much anything. So then directly across from Gigi was these people. Do you all know the podcast Scamanda? And they made it like a movie kind of thing, Scamanda, a documentary or something like that. Let me know in the chat if you know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about Scamanda. I was a big fan. I am a big, big fan of following financial crimes, as you all know. And there was a table directly across from Gigi, and it had a big sign that said Scamanda. And I went over there and I said, "Oh my gosh, my husband, this is like the only true crime thing he was willing to listen to," because I used to play it in the morning when I was getting ready for work. And he'd say, "So what's happening with that now?" And he got all involved in it. I said, he rarely gets involved in anything like that. But this one in particular, he kind of was like, "Wow, that's really interesting. What a piece of work she is." Okay, Ask Granny, if you haven't checked out Scamanda, you need to. She is a young lady that scammed basically an entire church by telling them that she was dying of horrible terminal cancer, and it's awful. It's awful. Anyway, as I was talking to them, the producers of Scamanda, I find out that they have a new podcast called The Slippery Podcast. And while we had our conversation about it, I think I need to go over here. It's a little bigger for you guys. While we had our conversation, and the fact that I thoroughly enjoy financial crimes and Ponzi schemes and things like that. I did get contact information, and I did get an affirmative on whether the producers of the Slippery podcast would like to come on and talk about some of the episodes that they've had. So make sure that you all go check out the Slippery podcast. I have not had an opportunity yet to listen to it, but they are delightful people, and I will absolutely at some point have them on the channel here to talk about some of the different podcasts that they've had. So, do y'all see why I said I had such a great time? This is still Friday. So yeah, please go check out the Slippery. I think I highly recommend it because I know what quality there was with Scamanda, and so y'all should check it out. I think it would behoove you. And so then I leave the, yes, thank you, Kelly. She's got in the chat the link to their website so that you can find it. I'll try to remember to put it in the details of this live stream. I can be forgetful about that, so I'll try. So anyway, I left the exhibition hall because we were getting ready to go. Well, I had to go to the merch store too, because I had to get merch. I mean, of course. And so we left there and we were heading to the final segment for the day. Hang on. Hydrate, everyone. It's Wine and Crime Wednesday. So I'm walking to the next segment, which was supposed to be the Cocaine Cowboy segment about the former University of South California football player that I guess had some sort of cocaine addiction, or I don't know. I was wanting to find out. That's why I was going to the segment. And as I am standing in the hall and we're getting ready to go in and everything, who should I bump into? And I bet most of you will not know who this is. But it's hard to see in this picture. I'm going to make it a little bigger. Does anybody know who this is? Let me see if I can go to the next picture that shows her a little better. Anybody? Anyone? Not getting any warmer with anyone? I'm giving you time to tell me yay or nay in the chat. Nobody? Well, let me tell you. This is why I say CrimeCon is what you make of it. Because you need to know your stuff. And you need to know who the people are. And you need to be a geek about it like I am. Because this lady right here is Valerie Borline. Who's Valerie Borline, you might ask? I want you to think back to the Alec Murdoch trial, and after the jury did the view at Moselle, they allowed two people on Moselle to record and report on what it was like there at the kennels. It was a lottery drawing that was done And Miss Valerie Borline was the one that was chosen. She works for the Wall Street Journal. And she was walking down the hall, and I went, Valerie. And she looked, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're here. I didn't know you were going to be here. And she said, well, the Cocaine Cowboy segment, he had to back out. And she said, so I just found out at 2 o'clock this afternoon that I was going to be doing another Murdoch segment. And so you need to make sure you come to that. I said, well, we were going to that one anyway. And she's like, oh, good. And in talking to her, if I can get things worked out with contract, clearing everything for what she can and can't say and everything, she has also agreed to come chat with me on this channel and talk about her experience being at Moselle for that period of time. I don't know if you all, there was a photographer and her. They were the only people allowed there. And I remember seeing her on video and kind of walking around and pacing steps so that she would have an idea of the distance between where Maggie was on the ground and where Paul was found. I don't know, was she on Nate Eaton's show the other night? It's very possible. I mean, she is, if you don't know who she is, she's not a big deal to you. But if you know who she is, she's a big deal. And so, yes, I feel like that was a score also. My sister-in-law and her friend were like, what are you doing? And I'm like, because of what she was able to experience by being there. Now, she does have a show or have a book called, oh gosh, let me check my notes. I think it's At the Devil's Elbow is what it's called. I am absolutely going to buy it, and I have no earthly idea when I'm going to have the time to read it, but I'm going to have to figure out time to read it because I'm sure it is fascinating. Devil at My Elbow is what I wrote down. So yeah, she and I had a nice little chat also, and she's like, yeah, absolutely, reach out to me if I can get the contract sorted out with the with WSJ. Then yeah, we'll chat. So yeah, it was an awesome CrimeCon, y'all. It was an awesome CrimeCon. And so then, as I am departing that day, we were walking, well, we're trying to find our way out of the maze that is called Caesar's Palace. And who should I bump into now? Because we went and the Murdoch segment. I did write a few things down. Hang on. Okay, a couple notes that I got from the segment that was that Valerie was a part of. She believes the reason Maggie's car was in the spot that it was in is because she thinks Maggie drove her car to the kennels. And I was like, oh, okay. I can wrap my head around that one. And that someone else drove it back to the house. She absolutely believes there will be a completely different prosecution team this time, which I'm really, really sad about because I kind of adore Creighton Waters. I really like him a lot. But because of the election, it appears there's going to be a completely different attorney general. And that is, of course, who will decide who's going to prosecute the case. So I just liked Creighton because Creighton is like, and I love that about him. So that was my Valerie Borline meet. And then, as I was saying, I was leaving Caesar's Palace. That place, I am telling you, oh my gosh, I am beating stuff. I am so sorry. when we were leaving, I bump into none other than, y'all know who that is? Y'all let me know in the chat if you know who that is. I'll even make it a little bigger for you. He and I just chatting away. Nobody knows who this is. Let me tell you what we were talking about. He was telling me, oh my gosh, I got dropped off from an Uber in the dungeon. And I said, oh yes, yes. The ride share takes you to the bowels of Caesar's palace. And he said, this is ridiculous. I can't believe it. So we were having a nice little chat, he and I. Let me take you to the next picture. Maybe you will recognize him when I show you this picture. Y'all still don't know who that is? That's Peter Van Sant. The Peter Van Sant. And he is a tall drink of water, let me tell you. Oh, speaking of height. Oh my gosh, y'all. Does everybody on here follow Jesse Weber? I adore Jesse Weber. I absolutely adore Jesse Weber. I like his little clips. He gives me a lot of information, especially if I'm just kind of on the go. Love Jesse Weber. I walked past him and I was like, oh my goodness. He is a very, very, very small man. He is maybe 5 feet tall. Maybe 5 feet tall. I am 5'3". So I dare say that Peter Van Sant is, I'm looking at where my eyes are and where his eyes are. He's at least 6'3", 6'4". He's a tall drink of water. Jesse Weber, not so much. Not so much. And you all know I have told you about my son and how small my son is. My son is barely 5 feet tall. And so when I was talking to him the other night, I said, oh my gosh, you're never going to believe this. Do you ever follow Jesse Weber? He's like, yeah, I think I know the name. And I said, he's your size. I said, I never would have known. And I showed him a picture and he goes, oh yeah. He looks like he's a tall, big guy. I'm like, I know. And I've seen him on stage too. And even when I saw him on stage, I didn't realize how little he is. Right, Disney? I'm always surprised when I find someone that is smaller than me in height. He is definitely smaller and just adorable. I still absolutely adore him. So, yeah, I had a little run-in with Peter Van Sant as we were headed back to our condo. So I told you I had a lot of pictures, just me hanging out with, all the celebs, because that's how I roll. That's how misdemeanor is. So that was the ending of Sofa Squad. So yeah, I again having a grand time when I'm there. So we went and grabbed a bite to eat at Bobby Flay's Burgers, and my sister-in-law thought it would be a grand idea to get me a glass of wine, which I was fine. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh, this thing was monstrous. It was almost the size of a red Solo cup, and it was full. And I know I didn't have to drink all of it, but I did drink all of it, almost all of it. There was maybe that much left in the bottom, and I am telling you, I was drunk. So I'm trying to weave my way back to the front of Caesar's Palace so we can get picked up and taken back to our condo. I was a mess. And that night, I did actually sleep. I kind of slept like the dead that night. Well, we went back and got in the hot tub. So that was part of the reason, alcohol. You all know I am not a drinker, but I was like, sure, okay, and it just was going down really easily. I'm such a lightweight that yeah, I was feeling no pain Friday night, and so yeah, we went back, got in the hot tub, and then I went to bed and I slept and slept and slept, and then we Saturday started the day off with the yogurt shop murders. I don't know if you all are familiar with the yogurt shop murders. I'll give you a little bit of background on it. There were three young ladies. They were closing a yogurt shop and were murdered. And I think it was, yeah, four young men were convicted wrongfully. So this happened, I believe, in 89, I think. I think it was in 1989. I didn't write that down. I should have. Four of the individuals that they took in and questioned confessed. Confessed. Two of them were arrested. All of them that gave false confessions, they used the Reed technique, which is a special technique that every single false confession that I have ever heard about, it was because of the Reed technique. They blamed each other. It was a mess. During the interrogation, there was talk about possibly using a gun to make someone confess to what they knew. It was awful. Finally, in 2017, they realized they had an unknown DNA profile. And they ended up doing some testing and determined it was male. And then from that testing, they did basically a manual search. So what it is, it's like in the old days where you would take a fingerprint and then you would take a card that had a fingerprint and you would literally manually try to match the fingerprint. Do y'all remember back in the dark ages when that's how things had to be done and we didn't have CODIS? Yeah. That's what they did for months and months and months. And all of a sudden a hit came up that matched to a serial killer in South Carolina. Of course, we're back in South Carolina again. The DNA came from under Amy Ayers' fingernails. Amy Ayers was the youngest of the victims. She was 13 years old at the time of her death. Her brother was a strong advocate for her, but it was her brother's wife who is a fierce, fierce woman, and she insisted that they keep testing and they keep trying this and trying that, all of it. And they finally matched it up to a man called Robert Brashears. He had prior convictions for attempted murder. He had been sentenced to 12 years. He was out after 4. Had they kept him for his entire sentence, these 3 young ladies would still be alive today. The death of the 3 young ladies at the yogurt shop is still considered an open case because they don't really know what happened. They know who now did it, but they don't know if he acted alone. And if he didn't act alone, well, then who helped him? And they have absolutely no idea how many other victims there may be besides this particular case. They know for sure there are others because he had been convicted, and all information points to him being responsible for some other murders as well. And interestingly enough, apparently his father had spent a lot of time in the clink as well. He was a bank robber, And the gun, I'm sorry, no. Back, erase everything I just said. He used the same gun to take his own life that he used to kill the 3 young ladies and several others that they know he was a part of. So that was an interesting segment. The Matt Murphy was on there, and the prosecuting attorney that really worked closely with Amy Ayer's family, most importantly, her sister-in-law. That's really who pushed the 2 of them together to get anything done on this case. And so Amy Ayer's brother is delightful. I wish there was a recording of them being interviewed. He's kind of like, what she said. And something came up about, well, I bet she wouldn't let that happen. And he said, that's right. He said, but, I picked her, so I'm okay with it. And I thought, how cute that he was like, yeah, she's a lot, but I picked her and I'm okay with my pick. It was very, very sweet. And so then, after that, I need to get something else queued up. Okay. After that, I was walking through the halls again, and I don't know if you all remember, but I had a girlfriend that went with me to the first day for Donna Adelson. And her name is Rhonda, is her first name. And she is a mega fan of Joseph Scott Morgan. And again, I'm walking in the halls. And who should I come?
Hey, I hear you're friends with Rhonda.
Sorry about that. I come across Joseph Scott Morgan. And so I said to him, oh my goodness, because you all know I've reached out to him to have him on to talk about Ellen Greenberg, and I would love to discuss the David Burke case with him. And so I was kind of talking about that with him as well, and he said, well, come to my booth. My wife is the one that does all the scheduling. Talk to her. I said, okay, we'll do that at some point then. And so, but in the meantime, I have to get my ears to make sure you all can hear. I already kind of blew it a little bit because it just started blabbing. At least let me get one ear in. And so I asked him, since she also went to the same college that Joseph Scott Morgan went to. And so this was the exchange.
Hey, I hear you're friends with Rhonda.
I am friends with Rhonda. Yes.
Hey, Rhonda, guess what? I'm Joseph Scott Morgan, and this is Body Bags.
I was telling her, I hope you get this. So, exactly, Kelly. Now it's not reach out to my people. It's now come to my booth. Yeah. And so, when we had a break, of course, I went to his booth and talked to his wife, Kimmy. I don't know if you all are aware of her or not. She's amazing. And so I started to talk to her about having him on, and she said, oh yeah, we can probably make that happen. I said, well, let me give you my business card. It's got my contact information on there, and I'll be reaching out. What's the best way for me to reach out to you? And she looked at my business card and she goes, oh, I know you. And I'm like, what? Excuse me? You what? You know me? She goes, I've seen you on TikTok. know you. She's like, yeah. Just hit me up on TikTok or Facebook. I'm like, well, I don't do Facebook, but I definitely can send you a message on TikTok. So I walked away and I'm like, what just happened? Joseph Scott Morgan's wife knows who I am? Oh my. Exactly, Kelly. Exactly. And again, all I was doing was walking in the hall and not literally, but bumped into Joseph Scott Morgan. That's how I saw Valerie. And I stress it all the time. People in the true crime community are very, very open. They are very willing to talk to their true crime community. And so it was awesome. Oh, Livy, there are lots of people that don't know me. And so we left there and got some lunch because we had a little bit of a break before we went to the much anticipated Binion segment. Yep, we're coming up to Binion, but before I went to the Ted Binion, we had lunch at this delightful cafe. I think it was called Cafe Americano or something like that. And lo and behold, who should I be having lunch with? Okay, so let me explain this picture because I need you to look over my shoulder there and tell me who you might be seeing over my shoulder here. Anybody recognize who that is? Anyone? I so badly wanted to go get my picture taken with her, but I was not about to bother her lunch. Nobody knows who this is. She is like the queen diva. I love me some Kelly Siegler. The Cold, yes, Livy. She has Prosecuting Evil and Cold Justice, both TV shows. She is a former prosecutor out of Texas. Most of you would know her most famously for acting out in the middle of the courtroom, how she believed the defendant killed her husband by straddling a mannequin on the bed, and she was, that's what Kelly is known for. She is a little pit bull. I adore her. Oh, thank you. My blue necklace. So yeah, Cold Justice is probably the one that most of you have seen. So now I tease with everyone and tell everyone, well, I had lunch with Kelly Siegler because I did. I mean, I wasn't right with her, but we did both eat lunch at the same time in the same place. I'm just saying, do we really need to split hairs? I had lunch with Kelly Siegler. I have proof. I have pictures, right? You all said you needed pictures. Here we are. Pictures. There you go. Love me some Kelly Siegler. And then when we got ready to leave, of course, Kelly had already departed. And I walked over to the two ladies that were sitting at this particular table, and I said, I just wanted to let you know that the one lady, I said, you are sitting in the exact chair that Kelly Siegler just had her lunch. I know this because I sat right over there and watched her eat. So, yeah, had lunch with Kelly Siegler on top of everything. I mean, I did not mess around, folks. So Then we went to the Binion segment. And I have a lot of notes. I'm not going to go over all of the things because I literally took 2 full pages of notes on the Binion stuff. And mostly the reason I'm not going to go over all of it is because when we finally do the replaying of the trial, which by the way is 152 hours, I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to make that happen. So there's that. But he has the segment that I was sitting in on was an actual recorded podcast. And I can tell you the recorded podcast was, I'm getting the screen pulled up for you all. It's called Unexplained, and his name is Richard McLean Smith. He is, I don't know what country he is out of, but he has a delightful accent, and creates all of his own music. That is him right there. And he did an entire podcast on Ted Binion's case. And so I, of course, corralled him after the podcast, and I said, hey, I'm going to be doing a trial replay of Ted Binion's case. Would you want to come on my channel and talk about the Ted Binion case? And he said, yeah, absolutely, I'd love to do that. And I said, awesome. Have you been to Binion's house yet? And he's like, no, I'm going to go tomorrow. I said, well, I went yesterday. So we will definitely, at some point in our Binion travels, we will hook up with Mr. McLean Smith and have a nice chat about all of the information, because it's a wild case. It is a very wild case. He does a nice job of how he kind of wove the story. So I do want you all to check out his podcast. I don't know specifically what episode the one is about Ted Binion, but I'm sure if you went to his podcast playlist, it's probably called Ted Binion or something like that, or something about Las Vegas and yeah, all that stuff. Are y'all ready? You want to take a little field trip? You all want to take a field trip with me? How about we take a field trip? Oh, I missed stuff already. I got it out of order. That's all right. I'm getting you all the information. I guess that's what's most important. Okay. Let me tell you the home, the neighborhood that it is in. Y'all, the neighborhood is unbelievable. And that's the thing that I was hoping I would kind of get a flavor for. So this first picture is me standing directly outside of Binion's, well, the former Binion home. And then the next one, I got rid of all of the fencing there, and I got you a better picture here. So you remember these beautiful front doors that we saw in the interior pictures. So here is the exterior. Driveway kind of goes around. Here is, I told you I was going to get a mailbox picture. There's the mailbox. That's where the letters go. And again, there's that beautiful, very distinct front door. I'm so glad that they have not replaced it. It is a beautiful front door. I'm going to look and see. I did take a picture of myself in front of it, and I cannot seem to get that one to show for me. It is giving me an error every time I try to open it. Let me try this way. I know I downloaded it. Okay, let's try this instead. Let's try image file, and where did I get that thing? Oh, there it is. There I am. All, all of me. Woo! Let's try that a different way. Oh my goodness gracious. Oh, it's not doing it on your end. I'm enlarging it and it's not even showing on your end. Awesome. Awesome. Oh, let's see. Is there a way? I have no idea how to make it larger for you, but there I am. Standing at the gate. There's the mailbox to the left. And me just hanging out there. But, oh, don't you fret. I also got a video. I just need to find it. And I'll add that. Video, kill the radio star. Okay. I need to pause this in some way. Yeah, not sure I'm going to be able to. Okay. Are you all ready? And I can't remember. Let me put my ear in. Y'all must be paused because I'm not getting any comments again. And I can't imagine that you all are this quiet. Not now. Unless you're that riveted. Okay. Give me just a second. I'm going to close some more things here so that we free up some space for the old computer. Yes, realtor. And by the way, let's go, realtor Janet. It is realtor, not realtor. There is not an I or an A or anything else. It is realtor. There is your grammar lesson for today's live stream. Realtor. Everybody say it with me. Realtor. Okay. It is a very beautiful place. So then I walked down the entire front of it, and that's what this video is. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I hope no one gets upset. Sorry, folks, I probably won't be the last person here. It's a very large property. Let me tell you, there are, there's like stables in the back where horses can be kept. It is beautiful. Absolutely, positively beautiful. And so, yeah, it was very cool to be there. The homes in that neighborhood, I'll have to see sometime if I can get the Google, the driving thing, and we can look at the neighborhood so that you all can see what I'm talking about. It's unbelievable. And this house is 6,000 square feet. So it isn't tiny by any stretch of the imagination. I'm sorry you feel that way, Phoebe. Thanks for coming on in. Yeah, if I'm going to have activism, it's going to be for people like Zach Adams, Edric Faust. Turtle Boy has plenty of support behind him, and little old misdemeanor is not going to make a big deal. a big dent in anything that's going on. And again, I say all the time, CrimeCon is what you make of it. And this is my second time going, and fantastic time. Absolutely beyond my expectations, because I'm not even done telling you everything, everybody. So after the Binion segment, we feel like I had a break there. Oh no. The Christina stuff. I agree on the Christina stuff. I blame CrimeCon for that. I blame our court system. I blame law enforcement. I don't blame CrimeCon for what happened to Christina. So, just saying, that's just my perspective and my opinion on it. So, we left the Binion segment and left to go to one of the main ballrooms because we were going to get new evidence told to us in the Scott Peterson case. Mark Garagos was there, and he was going to give us all this new evidence that is going to free his client, because I don't know if you all remember, Mark Garagos represented Scott Peterson. Well, I couldn't quite stomach much of that particular segment. It was ironically nothing new, and in the midst of all of it, Lauren Conlon, you all would remember, I've had Lauren on here. She ended up tweeting something to the effect of about 1,000 people here to listen to the new evidence in the Scott Peterson case. And she said, you can tell me a lot of information, but he's guilty. I'm sorry. And I was like, I completely agree with you, Lauren. It was really not a very eventful segment. And I had been messaging her because I knew she was there for us to try to hook up. And she's like, well, I'm at this booth right now, but I'm going to be at the Crime Online booth because I'm going to be doing a segment. She had just done a segment the night before on Court TV, I think. And so she and I were messaging, and she's like, yeah, I've got to step out to make a call, but go to the Crime Online booth and I'll meet up with you there. So I went there, and sure enough, she comes walking in. Oh, I don't even have this pulled up yet. Okay, so hang on a second. I gotta get myself in order here. Well, that's not where I wanted that. Bear with me. I'm just trying to load everything because I only had so much space. You know what I'm saying? And okay. And so I am waiting at Crime Online for her to show up, and I let her know, hey, I'm here now. And she said, okay, I'm walking in right now. And so she's walking in, and I can tell she's looking kind of puzzled on the phone. She's talking to someone. She's got an earbud up to her ear. And sorry, didn't like that. And you can see she's like, what? And she's talking to this person on the phone. And then she shows me, this is her showing me who she's on the phone with. And you'll never guess who she's on the phone with. Mark Garagos. That's who she's talking on the phone with. And here are the two of us having our greeting while she's trying to, and you'll never believe this, trying to give direction to Mark Garagos to get him from where he is to where she is. I told you Caesar's Palace was a nightmare. Horrible to try to get around. And so then we finally hooked up, and she was so sweet that when we were getting ready to, because she's like, let me come to you, Mark. Stay where you are. I will come to you. And she says, I have my friend Janet with me. So, we'll be there in a minute. Just stay put. And as we're leaving, she, the ladies that were sitting at the Crime Online table, she said she was going to rescue Mark. and they said, oh, but what about your friend Janet? Did you hook up with your friend Janet? And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so sweet of her. And so, yeah, we all went and rescued Mark Garagos. And there I am with Mark. And I did tell him I'd love to have him on my channel. We probably wouldn't agree on things, on most things, but you never know. But I said, my friend Bob Mata has taught me that I need to keep an open mind. I used to be a very pro-prosecution person, and now I'm a much more let's wait and see how this is going to play out kind of person. And he seemed to me to be a bit of a germaphobe, which that's fine. He needed to antibacterial his hands twice in the amount of time I was talking to him, which really wasn't that long. Thankfully, I had some Vanilla Whip from Bath and Body Works that I was able to share with him. And I said, I'm changeable, It's the same conversation I had with Bob Mata during the fundraiser that, if you give me good evidence and you can convince me, awesome, then I'm willing to change my mind. But you need to have substantial stuff. And I said, I don't like just having people that agree with me on my channel. I'd like to have some diversity. So he was not too keen on wanting to come on and argue. And I said, I'm not really into arguing either. That's not my thing. So I did, thankfully, get an opportunity to meet Lauren and talk with her in person for just a brief little bit of time. She was very busy. She had a lot of commitments and obligations while she was there. And so then we did the Scott Peterson. Oh, then I went to the Courtney Clenny segment. Y'all just don't even want to know what happened at the Courtney Clenny. So my sister-in-law does not get an opportunity to watch all of my live streams. Of course, I understand. She's very supportive and she's really good about following as much as she can, but she's got a life, And so we sat in on the Courtney Clenny segment. I brought a blanket with me because I remembered how cold it was last time. And by this time on Saturday, I needed it. And so we all bundled up under the blanket that I brought with me in the breakout room that we were in. And we proceeded to listen to, I don't even remember who these podcast people are or what they cover. They seem to have a big following, but they literally told me nothing. Literally nothing. I took not a single note the entire time. And we left, and I said to my sister-in-law and her friend that was with us that we would go back and watch my Courtney Clenny live stream so that they could get the real information, because it was a pretty fluff hour-long piece. It was pretty fluff, and so that's what we did. We went back to the hotel room on Saturday night, and I was able to connect in, I say hotel room, it was a condo. I was able to connect the condo unit, and we put it on the TV in the living room. And I proceeded to shock them with the body cam footage and how drunk she was in that accident that took place, and that body cam footage. And both of them were like, none of this stuff was in the segment today. I said, I know. That's why I told you we're going to go back and watch my stuff, because my stuff has more. So that's what we did. I was very disappointed in the Courtney Clenny piece. And so we left after that one, and we were headed back to, the last time I was in the exhibition or exhibitors hall, I didn't, normally my sister-in-law and I, we go up and down the aisles and we check out everything. See, I had to get my pins, my buttons, and oops, upside down, and that kind of stuff, I had to get that kind of stuff. Get my pens with, the police officer head on them. And you never know who you might bump into. And so we headed in there from the merch store. There was like a cut through that you could go through, and there was this lady standing in like directly in front of me. And I looked, and then I did another look, and I looked at my sister-in-law, and I'm like, it's Beth Karras. And I don't know if you all have followed me from the very, very beginning, but one of the things that I said on my breakdown of the breakdown on CrimeCon last year was the best segment I went to was Beth Karras. She was phenomenal. She has so much information, and she's covered so many cases, and she has that series now, The Curious Case of, she was the one that kind of got her foot in the door with the Natalia Grace business. And if you don't know who Natalia Grace is, you need to go check out all of that stuff, because that's a story and a half. And so she's standing right there, and I'm like, well, of course I'm going to talk to her. Of course I'm going to ask her for a picture. And so I did. And let me tell you, she is absolutely delightful. So this is me talking to her initially, and I'm letting her know my sister-in-law and I felt her segment last year was the best one. And I said, we just wanted to box you up and take you home so you could talk to us about all of the cases that you know. And she says to me, well, where do you live? And I told her. And then she says, or I said, but, because I think she lives in New York City. I said, but I have a YouTube channel. I could have you on my channel. And she's like, oh, yeah, that would work. I'm like, what? And so she agreed to come chat with me. And she said, I gave her my business card, and she said, oh, I've seen you. Shut the front door. Beth Karras has seen me. I don't care if she saw me in any way. Beth Karras saw me? So, completely fangirl moment for me, because I absolutely adore her. Oh gosh, yeah, it was the best. It was more than just one day, Kelly. It was like every day it seemed like it got better and better. She said, now when you message me, when you send me an email or anything about doing this, make sure that you reference where I met you and that we talked here at CrimeCon. And I said, I absolutely will. So when I tell you all that I made a lot of connections, Like I feel like I made CrimeCon work for myself this year. And I will also tell you, okay, you all know I'm 5'3". Do you see little Beth? She's so little. Oh my goodness, y'all, she's just so cute. I adore Beth Harris. And so yeah, that was kind of like the finale of my freaking weekend at CrimeCon at Caesar's Palace. And so, because my sister-in-law and I literally were like, oh my gosh, Beth Harris, it was so amazing. She was able to just kind of riff on all these different cases, and she knew about this, and she had all this inside intel, and it was just juicy, and I loved it. I loved everything about it. And so for her to even remotely agree, now, I may not get any of these people on my channel, but the fact that I had the conversations I had, and it sounds like there is a possibility I could have them on my channel, I'm good with that. As it stands right now, I am good with that. Yes, I made the best of CrimeCon that I possibly could. So then we were leaving to go to back to the condo, and walking out, and I had been having some interaction on the Twix with Erin Moriarty, and she had posted something about what is the case that turned you onto true crime, something to that effect. Put it in the comments below. And so I put Diane Downs. Diane Downs was probably the first legitimate deep dive case that I really, really followed. And that was back in the 80s. So a long time. I followed true crime longer than a lot of people have been alive. So, and she had reposted my comment, and then y'all, I don't know if you saw, but when I sent out my tweet, I don't know how many of you were on the Twix, but when I sent out my tweet about the fact that I was going to have to cancel my live stream Saturday night, Erin Moriarty liked it. I'm just saying. Like that. We like that now. So as we're leaving Saturday evening, this evening I am not drunk, and we're walking out, and in almost the same spot that I ran into Peter Van Sant, I bumped into Erin Moriarty. And I didn't do a picture with her or anything. She was trying to get on the phone. I try to be very respectful of people's time. And so I walked over to her and I said, I just wanted to say thank you. I've been communicating with you, mildly on Twitter. And she said, oh yes, I know you. I said, I just want to say thank you. Everyone here has been so delightful. They have been open and willing to do photographs and talk with everyone. And she said, oh my gosh, we love our true crime community. You all are the reason we're here. It's because of all of you. And I was like, oh, well, I just wanted to say thank you very much. And she's like, oh, absolutely. And then she liked another one of my tweets not too long after that. Hey, little drummer boy. And Judes, you are very welcome. I mean, I felt like it was a responsibility. Now, I don't want to end on a Debbie Downer note. And the last thing I have on my list for the sessions that I went to is that the Vegas shooting. So I'm going to need you all to give me some guidance on, it's pretty heavy. It is very heavy content. And I have a lot of it because it was a 2-hour session. So I have a lot of notes. I almost feel like I need to do like a separate live stream just for it. It won't be a 3-hour one or anything like that. It'll probably be about an hour of a live stream about the Vegas shooting. It's a lot. I had no idea some of the information that I learned watching this. I just don't, we've had such a great, lighthearted, fun live stream tonight. I don't want to end on such a heavy topic. I don't think let me consult. Oh, Little Drummer Boy, that's one of your favorite topics, huh? The Vegas shooting? Well, one thing I can tell you, and I can assure everyone based on, well, I'll tell you, who put the session on was the 3 detectives, first responders, head investigators in the Vegas shooting case. That's who presented the information to us. It is normally an 8-hour training, learning opportunity. It's like people pay to go learn about all this stuff, and they condensed their 8 hours to 2 hours for us. And so there is a lot to it. They said beyond a shadow of a doubt, there was absolutely, positively no one else involved in the Vegas shooting. It was only him. He did it by himself. He planned for a really long time. So I will say that about that particular topic, and then I will at some point schedule a separate live stream where I'll go over all my notes on the Vegas shooting specifically, because I do kind of feel like it needs its own separate time. So with that being said, I need to get some direction from all of you again on the Binion of all things. So I did, where did I put it? I typed, oh, here it is. I typed up all of the sessions, all the segments that we will have to cover for old Teddy Boy. It's 152 hours. I think that's what I added it up to be. 152 hours. Y'all tell me how you think we're going to get this done. Because I can't live stream every single night. It is too exhausting for me. I can do it for short little blips of time, but 152 hours, that's a lot. And I don't mind doing a trial replay, and I can get a bulk of it. We could do, 40 hours of it in the span of 1 week, maybe 48 hours of it in the span of 1 week. That still leaves us over 100 hours to cover. So, y'all tell me what you want to do. We can try to do, because like I have a life too. I know that becomes a shock. I don't mind converting maybe my Monday nights to dedicate it solely to Ted Binion. Or, and on occasion, throw in a Saturday maybe if I don't have a lot going. I don't really know how to break all of this down because there's so much, and I have a full-time job and a husband that he'll get real mad if he doesn't ever see me. I mean, he'll be okay for a little bit. And then he's like, what is going on? This is not what I signed up for. And I get it. I totally understand. So I don't really know how we're going to go about 152 hours of testimony. Yes. Yes, Two Kittens Productions. It was the Las Vegas police officers that did the seminar for us. They were very, very informative, and it was fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. They kind of broke things up between the three of them because they had kind of different responsibilities. So each of them had a different perspective on it. Well, thank you, Gina. I need to try to figure out a way to handle old Teddy boy. And I know that's what I was thinking of, Felicia, is the problem with showing highlights is then it still requires me to spend 152 hours of watching the trial, which I can do that because I can watch it at a little bit faster pace. I just don't, I'm not entirely sure how to handle it. But I will see. I actually just told Mr. Demeanor before I came in here this evening to talk to all of you. He said, "You seem a little off. Did you have a bad day at work?" And I said, "No, I didn't have a bad day at work. I mean, I was busy because, you know, being out for several days, and then you have 154 emails that you have to wade through and all of that. And then I had training all day today, and I'll have training all day tomorrow. So it's all just continuing to pile up. But that's okay. I mean, they call it work for a reason, right? If it were fun, it'd be called fun." And I said, no. It's not that I had a bad day. I said, honestly, I need to de-people. I don't know if you all go through this. I think I saw Runkle post something about this on the Twix, but I go through phases where being around a lot of people constantly, and then I'm like, okay, I need to have some solitude. I need to get one with Janet again, and I need to de-people. That's exactly what Felicia. Two people-y out. So that's what I told him. So yeah, I kind of want to hold myself up this weekend, all weekend. And if I did that, I would probably have time that I could put some things together and try to do some highlights and come up with some sort of sketch with the Binion case. So I'll see if I can figure something out for us to do with all of that, because it is very interesting. Here's the deal with it. The reason it's so long and there's so much to it, it's because it's 2 trials. Y'all probably don't know that. It is the trial of Sandy Murphy, which was the girlfriend of Ted Binion, and her boyfriend, Rick Tabish. They tried them at the same time. A couple hours out and about 90 to de-people, Melissa. Camper for life, he did. Who did what? Tell me. And so, and then of course that opens the whole can of worms, because you all know that Dr. Michael Baden was one of the people that testified in this particular trial, and I maybe could get an in with Linda and see if I could have him on to discuss this case. I still haven't had Linda on to talk about Casey Anthony and some of the other cases. She was on Phil Spector. I really want to do that still too. There is just not enough time, y'all. There's not enough for all the people I need to talk to and all the things I want to read and research and everything else. I can't work. I got too much stuff I want to do. So I'll figure it out this weekend. Yes, so much crime, Kelly. Yes. I'll figure it out. Post. Has that seemed to be working when I put the posts on YouTube? Are you all seeing that and getting notified? I know not everybody follows me on the Twix. I generally put everything on the Twix of what's coming up. A lot. Oh yes, Runkle did talk about depeopling. Yeah, I thought I saw that, and I'm like, oh, I so identify with this. And so I'll figure something out this weekend, and I will try to post on both the Twix and on YouTube where the posts go. When I had to cancel the live stream, I put the cancellation on the Twix, I put it on YouTube, and I put it on TikTok. So, hopefully that is enough to get the word out. I have gone this whole live stream. Y'all, if you haven't liked and subscribed and done all the Tubes of You things, please do that. If you are on replay crew, thank you so much, my replay people. Love it. Love. Drop me a comment. And I will work out some sort of schedule. I'm probably going to be emailing some people to figure out if I'm going to have guests, how I can schedule those, what we're going to talk about. I'm almost feeling like at this point we may need to do, I may need to figure out like a week's vacation and I live stream for the week. We'll see. I don't really have a whole lot happening in the way of vacations since we just saw the family, and I think they're going to come visit us later in the year, and so I'll take some time for that. But yeah, it's a lot of stuff. I'll come up with some sort of schedule though, so that it will be less. I need to do that anyway. I had done that a while back, and it helps keep me on track. And I did send a link out on the Twix about Raoul Valley. And I listened to the entire motion that Mr. Crosland offered up to the court. I am not feeling hopeful at all about what the judge's ruling is going to be. I think this is going to go to trial a second time. I only hope that we have a jury that can see what really happened. So I did want to tell you all that because I know Raoul is like one of our special places in our hearts from last year. That one I think I did take a week off of work to replay that trial, didn't I? I feel like I did. And let me check my schedule. As far as trials go, what is happening this week? Shaknovsky had a hearing yesterday. I have not had an opportunity to look at it. Shayna Gardner had a pretrial hearing. Courtney Clenny and Raoul Valley already had hearings this week, which I just spoke about Raoul Valley. Brendan Banfield is supposed to be sentenced on Friday. Yes, Granny Debbie, you are correct. Linda was one of the Aaron Hernandez attorneys in his trial too. And Mickey Steins has a hearing on Friday. I imagine that may have something to do with his mental fitness for trial. We may learn a little bit more out of that. And little Miss Corey Richens has a hearing on Friday as well. Then next week, Lakin Snelling has a hearing. There is a Michael McKee hearing, and David Burke has a hearing. So there's stuff coming up. that somehow I'll have to figure out how to cover too. Seriously, there's so much going on now that it's like I don't have time to work, but I do have to work. Gotta pay the bills. Um, so, with all of that being said, expect a schedule of some kind. I'll put it out there. It will be loose, kind of. This is what I'm thinking I can cover when I can cover it. Sometime this weekend. I am going to crawl in a hole for a day or so. I think Mr. Demeanor invited company Saturday evening for dinner. I'll get through it though. It'll be okay. It's only for a few hours. It'll be fine. And then I'm going to be like, everybody out. So, that's where we stand, y'all. I don't know if I will be doing, I'm at this point planning on doing Monday. I don't know what it'll be. We'll have Monday Matters and we'll have Wine and Crime Wednesday. Yes, I definitely need to recharge the social battery. Yes, thank you. And unfortunately, I wish I could let the guppies entertain the company. I mean, for real. Can you all just take over? Go look at some guppies. I got tons. I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them in my house. Y'all don't even want to know what my electric bill was. And Mr. Demeanor swears up and down it is not because of his fish tanks. Lies. It's all lies. So with all of that, I think I've told you everything that I could. I'll do a separate one on the Vegas stuff, and we'll be meeting again soon. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and caring about what the heck happened at CrimeCon. I never did hook up with Dolly. I feel awful about what has happened. And I saw what happened to Nerdy. I am a big Nerdy Addict fan. I have been a Nerdy fan from quite a while ago. And now to see it happen to someone else is really disturbing. I'll just say that, disturbing. You don't need to be taking the internet and the tubes of you into real life. It's not necessary. So, with all of that, oh, little drummer boy, go back to the beginning of the stream. I talk about it. With all of that, you know what we have to do. We have to have a great rest of the evening, what is left of it, for you. And it doesn't cost a penny to be kind. So find someone to do something nice for today if you haven't already. And